So lots happening, and then there's this issue of like, could anything stop
What's
you?
going to stop me?
Or could anything get in your way? Or,
When are the self-doubts maybe
yeah,
gonna come?
where are those little habitual kind of moments where, yes, there's self-doubt, or there's some difficulty from the past, or there's some expectation, or there's some judgment, or there's something. And those of you who know Judy's work will know that she's done this kind of amazing piece of work called Somatic Syntax, of using the body and using gestures and using the whole idea of movement as a way of healing, expressing, communicating,
Problem solving.
and problem solving, taking, dancing the score model, all of those kinds of things. What's very interesting for me at the moment, one of the many things interesting for me at the moment in NLP is how the whole background neuroscience and social science research is catching up on us.
Yeah.
And I was just saying to Judy how much I'd love her to do that lovely thing that she does of exploring the landscape and kind of completing an action, completing something. Because I've been reading lots of books about trauma. This is one of the latest ones, The Body Keeps the Score, because this is exactly Judy's work. The body is keeping the score, literally almost, isn't it? If you think of the score model,
right.
the body's keeping the score. It's all in the muscle, it's all in the body. And one of these things about sort of trauma,
Otherwise, it's only rumor anyway.
yeah, trauma or difficulty, is that there can be a kind of neuromuscular arrest in the system, and that's like a kind of habit that suddenly got locked in, and we have to think of it maybe almost as an anchor. I'm fine, I'm going along, got my project, boom, I've suddenly hit this at a certain point. I hit into this place of this belief pops up, or you never really do it.
And I'm not necessarily, kind of aware of, oh my gosh, I just hit a limiting belief, but maybe it comes in the form of self-doubt or that voice, and you never finish anything, or this is going to be hard to do, but these little things that come in that can be sort of bumps along the way, or challenges along the way, or even other people, who go, oh, you can't do that, what are you thinking?
So there's a lot of research now. There's a very interesting guy called Peter Levine, who now I can never remember, is in an unspoken voice. And the thing that you did, whether you went, oh, here's my horse just shaking it off, and we went, that's it, exactly what to do.
Right.
That is what animals do. That's another reason why it's so great to have animals sort of in the picture, as it were, because they know how to right themselves. Whereas human beings go, oh, I got this terrible shock, and then I stayed at some level in shock for the rest of my life, and I tried to numb it down with drugs, or I tried to, forget about it in different ways, watch telly all day, stay in bed, whatever, be very successful but forget about my family, all the different kind of ways that we've got of not being able to be with it, and somehow not being able to complete the movement that got arrested at that moment. And something really profound. I mean, I've watched Judy do this thing for many years. I think there's something really profound and beautiful, very wonderful, healing about this kind of movement to completion.
I think Moshe Feldenkrais referred to it as, when you're in that place of centeredness or flow or whatever word you call it, that the symmetry of the movements, the balance of the body, the posture of the body, the connection through the body, the groundedness, all of that in that space, what are the natural movements that get expressed, what's the natural language as the person is communicating with you through that space, or when they're just talking about the space, what shows, what comes. Because just like the words, you're not thinking about, oh, well, I'm going to make this movement now. I mean, that's the conversation. And then, when a person is somehow blocked in something, I mean, he worked with physical things in the body where people had been injured and stuff, but he would go, it's the vegetative place. It's where the movement was trying to get back home, but it got stuck. It stopped. And so this is, how can I take that through and then come back home to myself and notice what difference happens You know, what's the difference that makes a difference? So, you know, it's the body wanting to correct itself. Then the story that came to mind was I was in Alaska once, and I had a friend up there. She's a geologist, and she was working on the North Slope, you know, and the oil fields up there, and geology. And she said she had this friend called Bounce. I thought, well, what an odd name, Bounce, you know. And so finally I said, you know, well, why do you call this guy Bounce? She said, well, he was jumping out of an airplane, you know, parachuting, and the parachute didn't open. And the backup parachute didn't open. And he went into a giant snowdrift and basically broke an ankle. I mean, seriously, broke an ankle. But this experience of falling through the air was permanently etched, you know, in every cell of his body. I mean, it's like his hair stuck out. I mean, I swear to God. And he walked into a party one night, and I went, oh, that's got to be him. There's Bounce, you know, because this experience, you know, was completely etched. She was like literally still falling. Seriously, was still falling. You know? And I thought, yeah, I get it. Bounced back. Bounced back. And, you know, I can remember I fell off a horse in my early 20s and broke my arm really, really bad, you know, really messed it up in the elbow, you know, and traction for 3 weeks and heavy casts and all that. Like 20 years later, I'm getting a massage, you know, and the lady says, well, what happened to your arm? And I told her the story, and she said, well, just go ahead and take that cast off now. You know, that's still like, you know. And these things, you know, the body memory, and that was what kind of motivated me. Was in NLP we have a lot of beautiful ideas around visioning and vision and what we do with that particular modality, the auditory, especially the auditory digital, and the internal dialogues that we have, the cacophony of voices that we can have. You know, mine's like a party sometimes. And, you know, sometimes more tonal if a person is, you know, got a connection to the auditory sounds of life, not the words of life. But when it came to the body, it was pretty much just the vessel that held the emotion. You know, and the emotion is emotional intelligence and emotional energy, but there's the body and the physical energy as well. But it learns, it codes, it has memory, and it decodes information like any other system, but that wasn't sort of being considered, you know, wasn't sort of being considered in the process of NLP, and that just kind of became my little, you know, my little flag to bear, because I was kind of coming from a dance background as well, and that was important, you know, to me to go, wait a minute, that's another whole system that does exactly what the other systems do, but it's kind of forgotten in a way. You know, we don't put any awareness, too much awareness on it.
But also your connection with other cultures.
Yeah,
because I think the high Western version of NLP is all language patterns and kind of visual swishes and things like that. It's all kind of from here. And as you say, everything from here down is just like, you know, well, that's just kinesthetic. You know, there are no distinctions. It's
that's
not a processing system and an intelligence.
That's just the delivery system for the brain.
So I think that the fact that you're with different cultures and you were able to see how other cultures, maybe more integrated cultures, actually process their storytelling and their emotions and their relationships in a more embodied way.
We were talking a little bit about Mexico, I think yesterday, and that kind of thing. I think, you know, people kind of really live, you know, more in the body in a way. There's a purity there. So anyway, that's what somatic syntax is about. So it's just a little exploration, and it's about finding the challenge also, and then being able to go, where does it stop? You know, in the challenge, you know, we'll kind of explore that a little bit, and then how can I complete the movement so that I can bring it back home, so that, you know, I can complete it just through the body, and we'll just give it a go. Does that sound all right?